for all of you being here. I don't really have much else to say, but I'm just glad to be here. The weather's cooling down a little bit. It's nice.
Folks, welcome. Good to see you.
I know I've mentioned this before, but in the last CSDA magazine that came out for September and October, on the recognition page, there's 3 things that the CSDA offers as far as accreditation type things. One is a special district administrator certificate, and our general manager's name showed up there along with one other that apparently took the test and passes. So 2 have taken the test and passes in the recent months. But also, they have a certificate for District of Distinction Accreditation and District Transparency Certificate of Excellence. And we are working towards those. So hopefully the general manager sometime soon, and that requires the board members to do some things, and the staff to do some things. But hopefully in the near future, our names will be there as being accredited by them, and also have a certificate of transparency. The other thing I wanted to report on was the check that we took to the chamber eventually was accepted without conditions, because the conditions that we had asked for were already met. A member would already have all 3 of those things that we asked for. So they accepted our check, even though they gave it back to us. Then when it was understood that the conditions were automatically something that a chamber member would get, then they redid it and accepted our check for the September Fest.
Saturday.
Okay, my comments are going to be a little lengthy, but I feel that they need to be said. In going on what Byron said there, I feel that in light of the past month, an unwarranted attack from Terry Landseidel toward this agency, board, and its employees over a donation by the RCSD to the Roseman Chamber of Commerce for the September Fest has been unwarranted. Mr. Landseidel has spent the last month trashing this agency, our employees, and this board in the newspaper with an editorial filled with untruths to incite public backlash against this community services district. The district is a member in good standing of the Roseman Chamber of Commerce. These actions on behalf of Mr. Landseidel are why I feel the need to publicly set the record straight with the truth and facts. First, I want to make it very clear that the Roseman Community Services District is 100% in support of the Roseman Chamber of Commerce and its members and its board of directors. And the Roseman Community Service District is 100% in support of September Fest and Parade, not only this year, but all years past as well. We are proud to be a platinum sponsor of this important community event because it's good for our community, and more importantly, it recognizes those who sacrifice or who have sacrificed so we can enjoy our freedom. I would like to give a chronological list of the interaction of Mr. Landseidel and the RCSD. On August 21st, 2014, at the RMAC meeting, Mr. Landseidel approached me and asked if the RCSD was planning to donate to the September Fest this year. I told him it had not come up to the board for a vote yet, and I asked him to come to our board meeting the following week and make a request for it to be put on the agenda. He said he would. At our regular board meeting on August 27th, 2014, during public comment, Mr. Landseidel chastised the staff for not budgeting for the chamber donation and demanded that the board put the $1,500 donation into the budget before it was adopted. Mr. Landseidel also sought to shame the board by stating, with $1 million surplus, we should be able to afford a $1,500 donation to the September Fest. After the budget adoption, I reminded Mr. Landseidel of our conversation the week before, and asked him if he wanted his request on the next meeting agenda. He then went on the attack again, saying that he was already been told no, that there would be no donation. I asked Mr. Landseidel if the RCSD board had told him no, to which he replied, no, we had not. And then I asked Mr. Landseidel one last time if he wanted his request on the next agenda, and he replied for us to do whatever we wanted. I then asked for the request to be put on the agenda. Next, we received a letter from Mr. Landseidel, and along with it came the standard sponsorship paper that we get every year: platinum sponsored, diamond sponsored, gold sponsored, silver, bronze, so forth, what you get with each donation, and full page ads, so on and so forth, the prices. Same paper we get every year from him. But then he added another paper, a letter written, penned by himself. Benefits, entry in parade, booth at the park, and advertising. The board talked about educating the public about the use of water. The state wants the community to reduce their water by 10%. That is somewhat hard to do with the cutback we have already done. With the large attendance at the park, here is an opportunity to provide information to the public. Years ago, the RCSD participated in the parade and had a big display at the park. Showed information on water conservation and drought-resistant plants. Maybe educate them on the 5 biggest water wasters in a home. Maybe have the blue dye pills available and explain how to use them. Every one of these are excellent suggestions and ideas, and I was appreciative of the fact. But it's the way he signed the letter. Again, the hostility towards this agency and board. He signed it with, improve your image in the community. And it's, I took that as a heavy-handed approach to an agency that has always been supportive of the Chamber and the September Fest in the past, to take that kind of approach to us. At our next board meeting on September 10th, 2014, Dr. Scheer from the Chamber Board made a very professional presentation in response to the agenda item addressing a request for donation. Dr. Scheer invited the RCSD to have our vacuum truck in the parade this year, as we have in the past. The board voted to become a platinum sponsor for $1,500 with some conditions. And they are as follows. A, we wanted to have a booth at the September Fest. B, we wanted to participate in the parade. C, to have a member of the RCSD board attend and participate in all meetings. D, to have a complete accounting of spending and expenses for the parade and September Fest. And E, to renew our membership in the Chamber. Those were the conditions that were laid out and that we voted on at our meeting on September 10th. Upon learning of our conditions, Mr. Landseidel wrote this editorial in the Roseman News. Water Board harasses Chamber over Wounded Veterans Parade. This is a letter to the editor. Roseman Chamber of Commerce President Terry Landseidel's response to the recent Animal Valley Press article by Allison Gateland concerning Roseman Community Service District, RCSD, continuing as a Chamber member and sponsor of the Salute to Wounded Veterans 38th Armed Forces Day Parade coming up on September 27th at 10 a.m. This is my response to an article you had in the AV Press on Friday, September 12th, 2014, entitled Roseman Board OK Sponsorship. Regarding your comments stating accusations by me about RCSD being a sponsor of our Salute to Wounded Veterans 38th Annual Armed Forces Appreciation Day Parade, there's much more to the story than you put into your article. You didn't say anything about the Special Conditions Manager, Steve Perez, got directors Glenn and Wallace, Wood, Webb, and Sport to agree to in exchange for a $1,500 sponsorship. The RCSD is already a member of the Roseman Chamber of Commerce. There would be no reason to add that to their motion as they are already members. At the end of July, the Roseman Chamber of Commerce mailed sponsor packages to approximately 150 different local businesses about supporting Roseman's Salute to Wounded Veterans 38th Annual Armed Forces Day Parade. The RCSD was sent a complete package to honor veterans and active military, sponsorship application, parade applications, and booth application. The Chamber got no response from RCSD. The third week in August 1st, I stopped by the RCSD office to see if the RCSD would be participating in our Chamber's annual event, as they always have since it started. Neither the General Manager Perez nor the Board Secretary Guerrero was available to talk to me. One of the employees was sent out to tell me no. I was somewhat surprised, so I asked again. She said no, the RCSD did not want to participate in the Salute to Wounded Veterans event this year. So I went to the RCSD public board meeting on August 27th. I spoke about our event and invited them to become a sponsor to honor our military and wounded veterans. At this meeting, they were approving the budget as an agenda item. Last year at their budget meeting, they put funds into the budget to become a sponsor of our Armed Forces Day Parade. They wouldn't take any action this year because they said my invitation was made in the public comment section of the Water Board's public meeting. After the board approved the budget, Mr. Wood asked me if I would like the sponsorship request for the wounded veterans we put on the agenda for the next meeting. I stated that would be good. Mr. Webb talked about more cordial relations between the community groups. At the public meeting, the board members said that they had not been approached regarding a sponsorship. I felt that sending the sponsorship package to the district office was a proper way to handle a donation request, just like in the past. I didn't realize that I had to send the request to all the board members. I thought that the office staff would inform the board about our request. I guess I was wrong. I put together the sponsorship letter and delivered it to the district office on September 4th in person. I submitted a copy for all 5 board members and a copy for Steve Perez, the general manager. When I called the district office to follow up, they sent me to voicemail. I left a message but didn't receive a call back. Days later, I drove to the district office to follow up on the use of the Diamond Street Community Building for the second round of the Kern County Renewed Bids Grants Program. No luck. I waited 3 to 5 days to get a simple answer on the use of the community building to help the local businesses apply for the Renewed Bids Grant Program. Nothing, no response. The only bright spot at RCSD anymore is dealing with John Houghton, the assistant general manager. I called him and he got back to me the same day. Terry B. Lanzano, president of Roseland Chamber of Commerce. You know, I called and left a message on Mr. Lanzano's voicemail for the use of the community building. And I told him it was fine for him to use it. And that was my voicemail to him. In fact, I asked him if he had gotten my message when I met with him at the RMAC meeting. And he said he had. As far as last year, the September Fest wasn't in our budget either. That was voted on by this board to donate $1,500 last year as well. And no, it's not a line item in our budget, but we do have $7,200 in our budget for public relations and things of this nature to donate for this. But it's up to this board every year to decide, you know, what we're going to give and what we're not going to give. And that's why it's a board action item, not just a rubber stamp. You know, our conditions are very reasonable and necessary because we are giving taxpayer dollars to a community event. And it is our responsibility to make sure that those tax dollars are being spent in a nonpartisan community event to promote the community in a nonpartisan way. The public demands, and rightfully so, that this agency accounts for every penny. And for this board to give $1,500 of public money and not ask for any kind of accounting of what it was used for or spent on would be an irresponsible act and a breach of public trust by this board. And that is the reason for the conditions. I am sure Mr. Lanzano does not take this approach with other donors when asking for donations, and in the future when dealing with the RCSD, I would hope that we will receive the same courtesy extended to other potential donors. I would like to conclude with this thought. For Mr. Lanzano to get so defensive and up in arms over these conditions, and to go to so much trouble to try to discredit this agency, its employees, and this board, who incidentally has a fiduciary responsibility over these funds, makes me wonder, what is Mr. Lanzano doing being president of an organization that was established to unite its members, not divide them? Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Michael Bose. I work for Recurrent Energy. I'm joined by Amy Epstein, also obviously with Recurrent Energy. Thank you very much for getting us on your agenda tonight. Next slide, please. Recurrent Energy, for those of you who have not been introduced to us before, we're a solar PV project developer. We have over 500 megawatts of projects currently in operation and under construction. And most importantly, in Kern County, we have 4 operating facilities, including Rosamond 1 and 2, which we'll speak about a little bit more tonight. We have 3 currently under construction, 1 near Bakersfield, 2 up near Mojave. And then we have 2 proposed projects that are located about 15 miles west of Rosamond that we'll also provide an update on tonight as well. Next slide, please. This is just the rough agenda of what we'd like to discuss. And again, this is a very short presentation, so next slide, please. Here is an overview of the 3 projects, actually the 4 projects. Starting from right to left, you see Highway 14 there in downtown Rosamond. We have Rosamond 1 and 2. Those projects have been completed. They're located about 5 miles northwest of town at 60th and Favorito. And then the proposed projects that we'll speak to in a little more detail are RE Astoria, the blue shaded project there, as well as RE Garland. They're basically bounded by Avenue A and Rosamond Boulevard, and again located 15-16 miles west of town.
They're all in West County.
Yes, absolutely. All 100% Kern County.
It was in the paper today.
These projects were in the paper today? Okay, which publication?
County Press, wasn't it?
I have not seen that yet. But,
Yeah, it's in the paper today. That's up past 170.
yes, 170 to 240. So just to start with Rosamond 1 and 2, again, these projects were completed last year. Total of 40 megawatts between both projects. They're currently powering about 10,000 average California homes. I mentioned the location earlier, and as you can see from the photo, when we finish construction, we seed the site with native vegetation to bring the natural growth back to the facility and to help with pest control. And I know the vegetation, as is normal during that time of year, a lot of it is brown at the time, but vegetation has taken really good hold, and we're not aware of any current dust issues or concerns associated with
See that one that was, I just didn't know where was that, but I see, had the vegetation in it.
Yeah, we've been very happy. We hire a landscape architect that prepares the seed mix, use native species, obviously, because we don't want to be out there watering it during the life of the facility. And we've been very happy with the amount of growth that we've done. And it will continue. Hopefully we'll get some more rain this winter and continue the cycle. Next slide, please. The first of our proposed projects that we'll talk about is RE Astoria. Again, this is bounded between 170th and 205th, between Rosamond Boulevard and Avenue A. 175 total megawatts. The EIR, the draft EIR that's currently circulating, is analyzing about 2,000 acres. As you can see in the exhibit, the area outlined in green is about 1,600 acres. That's the area that we intend to build out at this time. As I mentioned, the draft EIR is circulating now for public comment, and we are hoping to get to a Board of Supervisors hearing at the end of this year. Next slide, please. The next proposed project is RE Garland. This is immediately to the west of RE Astoria. This project is 200 megawatts, and the EIR is analyzing just over 2,000 acres. The NOP, which is Notice of Preparation, and which is the first stage of the EIR process, is circulating right now. So this project is tracking a little behind the Astoria project in the approval process, in the review process. And we're looking to get the Board of Supervisors next spring for that project. Wanted to keep it brief, but would appreciate any questions you have about our completed facilities or any of our proposed projects.
When do you expect this to start?
For RE Astoria, the first project, we're hoping to start first part of next year. And the Garland project, we start around the middle to third quarter of next year.
What is the time of completion?
So RE Astoria our goal is to complete that project before the end of 2016. For RE Garland, there's basically 4 phases that that project is broken into. We'd be looking to construct the first 3 phases by the end of 2016. A little uncertain as far as the timing of the 4th phase.
I think I read an article where there's going to be a lot of these put in, right? A lot of solar.
Yeah, and in this area that we're talking about, there's quite a bit of solar that's been constructed out that way as well.
Long-term future.
And Whirlwind Substation, which some of you may be familiar with, which is out on 170th, that was constructed just a few years ago. That has a lot of capacity to take the power from our projects, also the wind projects. So that's one of the reasons that this is an attractive area for renewable projects.
He's got his hand up.
What's the total generation for recurrent in Eastern Kern, or in Kern County?
Total generation in operation right now,
Actually, with what you have planned also.
with what we have planned also. I know, we need to do the math. We've got,
I mean, with these 2 projects, it's probably going to get close to 500, 600.
yeah, so these 2 projects would be 375. We've got the 40 in Rosamond, but with Rosamond 1 and 2. And then, apologies, I should know this off the top of my head, but
It's got 70 close to.
we're going to have just roughly around 475.
Right at 500.
Yeah.
I listened to this presentation at the last week at the chamber meeting, and since then I ran into a former student at Roseman High School who graduated in 2004, and I had him and I asked him what's going on. He was there with his wife and child, and he said he's working in solar. And I said, where are you working? And he said he's one of the managers out at Roseman 1 and 2. So there are employees from the valley and specifically from Roseman High School that are working for the solar.
Yeah, and I also add, and I actually just found this out today, that another one of our managers who manages, who also works on Rosamond 1 and 2, and also 2 of our completed projects up near Mojave, actually just recently bought a house in Rosamond and moved his wife and 2 kids into the community. So that's very good news.
Question, back up for a minute.
Yes,
How
sir.
about your vegetation? You say this was a native package of
Native seed
plants?
mix.
It
Yes.
doesn't include tumbleweeds now, does it?
No.
How do you propose to keep the tumbleweeds out of your project? And if they get in there and they grow the size of Volkswagens, how are you going to get them out of there?
Well, the best start we have is, and I know the vegetation in the photo was a little brown just based on the time of year, but when we get that really good coverage with the native species, that helps prevent non-native and unwanted species from.
Yeah, but you see by now, tumbleweeds are a native species. They've been here since the Russians came to San Francisco.
Yeah.
Back during, what, the 1850s? It's all over the place. They're hard to keep out. You get them in your yard, and you gotta go out there and hand pick them out.
Yeah. Yep, and part of our O&M team also that maintains the vegetation for the site is also responsible for maintaining the site, maintaining the vegetation on the site.
Are they gonna plan on mowing this land between the panels?
So the seed mix that I referenced before, we specifically look for low growth vegetation. So we're hoping that we won't have to do much mowing between the panels.
Okay.
That's our hope.
You know, what is it?
I recently driven, of course I drive past your project there on Valparaiso frequently, and I've driven out 170, and it completely changes the whole environment of everything. The desert's gone, the parks are gone. My concern, as with other solar companies, when they encroached really close upon people's property. And the people weren't offered to be bought out, and the value of the property goes away because it's surrounded by fences and panels. I would hope that you're taking care of that and doing good business with the folks that are there. The desert wildflowers are of course gone. We have fences and solar panels now, and we have water back. We will not have our desert back. So my question is, I'm hoping that you have a good department that will be very generous with funds to help community public projects, that you'll be a good partner with the folks here in Roseman and other areas in Montgomery County. We have given up a lot in favor of solar. And those of us who love the desert, you know, it's gone. It's gone for 30 years or however long the project's going to be out there. So that would be something that I would like you to stay in close communication with our general manager so that there are good projects that we can open, we can partner with, we can count on your support to help offset some of the difference of the view and the difference of the trend. It is different. Nobody who's driven out on Avenue D or driven out on 70th or driven anywhere, just 90th, there's this huge solar complex on the hillside. So that would be my admonition, to be really good neighbors and to help fund. You're going to make lots of money with 50 megawatts, 500 megawatts. We need to have some of that shared around the community to make our life a little better here.
Some of the neighbors that are near the facility, we work with them and do our best to accommodate with setbacks and providing some additional visual screening where we can to make sense, where it makes sense. And we've been an active member of the Rosemont community for a few years now, and definitely intend to continue that. We'll see you guys at the September Fest this Saturday, and look forward to continuing the discussion with Steve on other initiatives.
And I don't know if you guys have thought of this or not, but you know, in regards to the dust mitigation and stuff, I know you do your best, you know, to keep everything watered down and, you know, grow, you know, regrowing vegetation, things like that. In experience with the pivot farms out there in Palmdale and out around Avenue E, going out from basically 60th to 90th Street, a lot of that land was cleared, you know, to build the pivots. And what they did is, I believe it was in the city of LA, they brought up their green waste, green chop, and spread it on the roadways, and so the vehicles driving on it would not kick up a lot of dust. They also brought in and made windrows out of the green waste as well. And it's all organic, and they need a place to get rid of it, and it's someplace where you, for a temporary measure, you know, to put windrows and tell the vegetation. It's just, I think it's just one other way to maybe look into reducing the dust that blows, that the windrows will catch it, keep it contained on site as much as possible until the vegetation does continue to grow in. And then plus, most dust, you know, is kicked up, you know, with the driving the vehicles on it. And you can have a water truck on these desert dirt. You could be following the water truck and probably be kicking up dust behind it. It just evaporates so quickly out here. And so I believe it's the city of Los Angeles. I can try to get the information where it comes from, but they'll truck it up here, they'll dump it on the ground where you want it. Basically all you need is just a loader to just spread it out. And then, you know, just packs it into the dirt, makes it a driving surface so that all your vehicles can drive on it. And it could help. I don't know if it would be the answer, but it could help.
Yeah, we've found that that's a great idea, a great suggestion. We have heard about that before, and it will be something that we'll be talking to our contractor. And what we found is you really need a combination of measures. Like you said, just running a bunch of water trucks doesn't solve all the issues. Kern County is actually implementing a new, basically a phasing requirement, where they only allow clearing of enough land on your project where you'll be working on it on that same piece of land within 20 days. So they don't want us to come out, clear a large area of land, and then have it sit there while we start on one part of the facility while the rest is exposed. So that's one of the enhanced dust mitigation requirements that will be held to as part of our approval process. So the phasing will be a big difference. Also, one thing that we try to do, and these sites are perfect for it since they're already very level, is just minimize the amount of grading that's required. So we'll do what they call mow and roll, where they mow the vegetation and then they roll it just to create a good working surface for the workers, so it's smoother to eliminate trip hazards. But by really limiting the amount of grading that we do at all, the phasing, and there are other measures as well that we can talk about. But you mentioned the vehicle traffic. We do use dust palliatives in some cases, like a magnet chloride that we'll put on the primary roadways. It's commonly used dust palliative across the country, so we'll use those on the roadways. So again, Kern continues to improve and enhance their requirements over the years. At the same time, we're getting more experience, and we're getting better and better at it and understanding what we need to do better. And again, with the site being so flat and so minimal grading being required, that will control the dust well on these projects.
I have a question for you. Where do you get your water from? Are you buying it privately? Are you buying it from Roseman Community Services?
So we hire a contractor to design
Where's
and
he
build.
buying the water from?
So for the proposed projects, we have not identified the source of water for the projects.
I know you're buying it privately up on Bacchus, on 90th. You go up there and you load your trucks from 6 in the morning to 3 in the afternoon, hauled out there to that project. Why don't you give some of the business to Roseman Community Service Districts and backing you up?
Are you talking about one of our projects?
Well, it's on the one on 90th. I know where that source of water comes from. I'm not sure where your
Okay.
source of water comes from.
Yeah, that's not our project. So for our proposed projects, the
But
storing
they're buying
garden.
it from a private company, so
Okay.
where do you get your water?
As I said, we leave that up to our contractors. We don't even
Find
have.
out where and report to the board where you're buying your water and how much a gallon you're paying for it.
Would be happy to, but it'll be months
It
away.
would be a reasonable thing to do if you're showing your presentation here to accommodate the board and let them know, because they might have a chance to meet that particular price and help the ratepayers of this town make a little bit of money too.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's just we're months away from that decision being made.
Okay, I have two questions. The second thing is, has the board of directors up there looked at putting solar panels out at the sewer plant? Is it economically feasible to do that, cut some of the costs going to Edison for running them dang pumps out there?
Well, we have, sir, and I'll let Steve answer that.
Okay.
We looked at that.
They should be putting the solar structure up within the next 2 weeks at the wastewater treatment plant, here at this facility, and at well 9.
Is the solar panels better to go than the windmill?
Absolutely.
It's a lot better, okay, even though it only works during the daytime.
Well, I say absolutely. When you start looking at cost, total cost, and the O&M cost of having a windmill, it is a heck of a lot more expensive over the life of your project, say a 20, 25-year project. So when you look at it from that perspective, it's a little bit more expensive. One of the things that impedes us from putting a windmill in this area, we're right in the flight path to Edwards. And the wastewater treatment plant that could take a 1 megawatt windmill very easy we'd have a heck of a time with Edwards trying to get that through in the navigation easement that they have in that area.
So solar panels is the answer for that particular place out there?
Right. What we're looking at out there right now is we're going to do a net metering for just the ponds. The biggest part of our load is the wastewater treatment plant, the new plant. That we will probably phase in another RFP or a bid as soon as we get the net metering completed. Hopefully, will be completed by the end of, or by December.
So you gotta know how much power you're using to know how to figure it out.
I'm sorry?
You know, you need to know how much power is being used out there so you know how to let them bid it out, see if they can make the requirement.
Absolutely.
That's simple. That's good, thought of it.
You do when you're building houses here, you'll be watering the ground and then rolling it, or just continually watering the ground to make it hard enough, hard pan, so that it will hold the piling? Or what are you doing now?
Yeah,
I remember back when you had the RMAC meetings last year, they had a big row about how they were driving the pilings in, or putting the pilings in to hold the panels.
So the final design of the piles we won't know until we hire our design build contractor. But based on the soil conditions out there, they are conducive to basically driven or vibrated piles into the ground. So, you know, they're usually the W6x8, which is basically a steel I-beam that's vibrated and into the ground. That's what we'd anticipate. Again, we won't know for sure until our...
Some of them hit some bedrock and they got blown over out there, about a year ago. Some of the panels all come down and the workers were out there repairing them because they weren't anchored solid enough in the ground.
Well, we don't want to run into bedrock. The geotech investigations that we've done don't indicate any bedrock in the location of these projects, so we don't anticipate that. We won't hit bedrock.
And hope you don't get too much wind.
Well, there's wind.
60 and 70 mile an hour wind.
Yeah, we have to design for the wind, obviously. So,
Panels. When you replace them, how long do they last?
about 35 years. They do degrade slightly over time, but we're looking at about 35 years. And at the end of the life of the facility, if there isn't we are required to decommission the facility if by some chance the panels aren't replaced or there isn't another option that's pursued at that time.
It'll be obsolete in 10. New technology will come out.
Still making good power though, but yeah, the technology is improving quickly.
Will your panels be made here in the United States? Do you have any idea?
So that depends in part on who is selected for the panels. For the Astoria project, we are going to be utilizing First Solar, who's a company that you may be familiar with. They've had some of their own projects out here, so those will be domestically made. Unknown at this point for Garland, the latter project. All right. Well, thank you very much for your time and putting us on the agenda. I appreciate it.
Thank you. The first thing I'd like to update board on is tomorrow will be closed for staff training. It's been advertised. Any calls for service or emergencies will be answered by the answer machine and given a number to call in case of an emergency. Staff will be in the office, but there will be training, and we'll be totally open in the back, so we'll have the workers out and about. It's just the front office for a training cycle. The strategic plan is coming together real well. We have completed our drafts, and they go to get compiled now, and we should get the rough draft back in totality sometime next week. I have taken the liberty to sign the board up for a program called Good Board Works. It will come from Brent Ives, and we'll update the board constantly on new and improving or necessary information that boards ought to be kept up to speed on. So it's a service that you'll all start receiving, and I look forward to seeing how good the information is with that. I'd like to point out that although I'll be receiving a recognition at the annual conference, on behalf of the entire RCSD, the President's Special Acknowledgement Award was given to the district from SDRMA, which is the Special District Risk Management Authority. And it's the President's Award for Special District Management and Safety, and hereby is presented to our district. It's acknowledgement to recognize members with no paid claims during the prior 5 consecutive years in property liability program. A paid claim for the purposes of the recognition represents a first payment on an open claim during the same period and excludes property claims. Congratulations on your excellent claims record, and it's signed by the President, David Rand. There's not too many districts that receive this, and I think it's an acknowledgement of staff's ability to do what they do and do it safely on behalf of the district and the ratepayers. So that was a great surprise that we'll also be receiving at the annual conference.
That's our workers' comp liability.
Correct. Also, I think one thing that I think is of note, when we implemented the water conservation regulations as mandated by the state, I had mentioned to our staff that we would analyze after 2 months of this program how we were doing. Well, currently, up till this point in time, we are 13% below the same time last year. That's going to be what we're going to be evaluated on or against. It is what our production was last year. Our pumping today is 13% less. So we have achieved the 20% reduction as mandated by the governor, and now we have, the community has achieved an additional 13% reduction since August, which is great. They're doing their part. And I would just like to acknowledge the community for their hard work in doing what they're doing. I know my lawn is dead, totally dead, and my mother-in-law is not happy with a dead lawn, but folks are doing their part, and they should be commended for it. Update on public works projects. I'll go right into the Assistant General Manager, Superintendent of Public Works, his portion. We had 8 service line repairs throughout the community, 4 angle stop repairs. Some of them, at least one of them was a angle stop that just wore out. Some of them are broken by folks that didn't want their water turned off. And we completed a budgeted bar screen repair at the wastewater treatment plant, which was $64,000. And I might point out, as you're aware, this is the first year that we set money aside, $1.6 million, for depreciation of our infrastructure. And this cost came out of the depreciation in our budget to take care of that unforeseen repair. So, in addition, we had 21 lockoffs, 175 various work orders throughout the community. And in addition, the crews repaired the main water leak at Wilford Park. They found where the seepage and things were occurring finally. The new crew did, and they made a repair of that. And they completed the meter readings for the month. So that's the Assistant General Manager's Public Works report, and all I have for a report on district project.
Question. Our landscaper, the gardener who takes care of all of the CSAs, is he responsible for the sprinkler systems at all?
Yes.
So he is. Okay, so has he been directed to take pay extreme attention to the sprinkler systems and make sure there's no broken pipes or broken heads or things like that?
Absolutely. If it's seen, if they can visualize it, they'll fix it right away. If it's reported, we get on it right away. And not to mention just the visual repairs of sprinklers, but to set all the timers at proper watering time in the evenings and on a proper cycle.
So we have to be that responsible as well for public parkings. I did have a customer talk to me. She lives adjacent to, I guess, let's see, what is it? Tierra Court, corner of 35th and Orange. We have a landscaped corner there. And she gets tremendous leakage. I know she's been in contact with you folks. They found one little thing at some point in time. She still has tremendous amount of leakage under the wall.
I think it was Monday, she had called here and wanted to meet with me. And I made an immediate meeting with her. And she was here for about 5 minutes trying to describe it. And I said, come on, let's go look at it. And I went and looked at it personally. Then I went and got the landscapers and I took them over there. They saw it and they were going to correct that problem. They thought they knew what was creating it, and I left them with it. So she was appreciative that we took the time to go out and look at it. And I told her, I said, you can't get a feel for what's wrong unless you go out and see it.
Yes.
And it took 10 minutes to go out there, get them. They were happy to go over and take action on it immediately. She was going to pour some concrete. She was worried about the water leakage and the damage to her pour. It was great that she's a new person to town, and I think we left a good impression on her as far as our reaction to her concern.
Good. Thank you.
Steve, can you tell us, like, we're going to that conference next week, and there's certain requirements for the board members, and we get them met that qualifies as the district board, the district of distinction, is that right?
Well,
Where are we at on that point?
we are we're a long ways down the road. We're real close to our district of distinction designation. I think Lizette has just completed the transparency things that needed to. We were right in the middle of a transition for a web page, and that has come leaps and bounds, and we do some things that, thanks to Passantino Anderson, Tom, and Dave for your help in helping us arrange that with the public relations focus, so we get good information out, and we're able to timely change that information rather than having to go to a person that only they can do something. We can make changes on the website. It looks really nice. So to answer your question, we'll probably hit our
I think I only need one.
by the end of the year, if I can get the board members that haven't, to go to the leadership and make sure you have all 4 modules completed, because that's a requirement of District of Distinction, is to have the governance certificate of all of the board members and the administrative staff, as well as you have to have a general manager that's certified. We've completed that. And you have to have the transparency certificate. I think that's the only thing. Oh, board member attendance at meetings and minutes, proper minutes. That's part
What
of
does
it.
that do for us when we get that?
It's something that a lot of districts don't have. They're recognized as having everything in order in your agency that is required by law. It's difficult for some agencies to achieve it because they can't afford, number one, a website. Some places don't even have a website. Some don't send their people to training because they can't afford it. There's a lot of reasons why some don't achieve that level. So basically it's saying we are doing everything we can to properly advise our community of everything that we're supposed to be doing.
Thank you.
Discussion and action to approve a test plot to grow trees, shrubs, and other landscape flora at the wastewater treatment plant facility.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion?
Rick's not here to discuss it.
Yeah, let's have some discussion.
It's Rick's baby, isn't it? Yeah.
Has the Lahontan approved that?
Pardon?
Has the Lahontan approved the use of the water from the treatment plant for your test plot?
As long as it's used on site, we don't have to have that approved.
Ah, that's good.
Yeah.
You got lots of water out there.
Well, this is an issue that I wanted to bring to the board to get your blessing on. Although we have it budgeted for conservation, and these trees and shrubs that we want to do a test plot on are in the conservation realm, drought tolerant type of shrubs and trees, and not to exceed $15,000. We want to plant trees and shrubs and water them with our treated water, and see if we can't make that go. And if it works properly, we could have trees growing for the community, and we're asking them to cut back, and we'd be able to produce some of the things that they might be able to use in a drought-tolerant yard.
That's good. That's put in the community garden.
Well, that's the other thing he wants to do.
My hobby's doing it. See that in the paper? They're doing it.
He wants to do that.
I'm for it.
Normally, community gardens are started by an organization, a nonprofit. They run them.
Okay, we have a motion by Director Glenn.
I have a question.
Wallace.
I'm not good. These little garden plots out here, the one has a lot of grass, and the whole idea of those, the Tom Loomis garden, was to show people how much they could save on the water and do the water study. Now, should we revamp those gardens since, those yards since, it's a very effective idea. And put the market xeriscape and put the trees here rather than there. Are you talking about a whole lot to provide to people for very low cost and going to the nursery business? Is that what we're talking about today?
Well, I don't know so much about the nursery business per se. It will be a nursery type, but it'll be specialized based on our requirement to cut back. Having the plot here, you would see it in its infancy, and it probably wouldn't be sightly for the RCSD. But certainly when it matured I think it would be good to bring mature shrubs or trees to this location and transplant and show them what we do have.
I think the important thing to keep in mind without having the demonstration garden at the treatment plant is that it's very aesthetic looking. It also shows the public that recycled water makes things just as green and beautiful as regular tap water does. And when we're going to be introducing it into the community, when they can see, they go out to the treatment plant, they can see big trees, and beautiful grass, and landscaping, and flowers, and all this stuff growing abundantly with recycled water. It puts the picture in people's minds that it is a good thing, which it is, and it helps with the education of using recycled water in the community as well.
Isn't there a lot of water on Avenue E and alfalfa farms? Isn't it all recycled water?
Yes.
There's several alfalfa fields there. It's got the sprinklers that go around the circle. They run a pipe all the way down through there.
If you go down to
Big pipe. And then they run it down 90th?
Yep, running down 90th to G. You've got it running down 60th to G, all the way E to 90th. This makes a big loop. All that area there is covered with recycled water. You also go down into Palmdale. And all of those areas between Avenue P and Avenue Q and all the way up to Avenue N, out to about 65th Street. All that farming out there is all going to recycled water.
That's been that way for years.
And then McAdams Park in Palmdale, which is just down the street from the Palmdale plant. They completely tore up the whole park, put in all purple pipe, and that entire big regional park there is now completely irrigated with recycled water. And so, you know, anybody can drive by these facilities and you can see the recycled water is a good thing.
I have a question, Steve. This is for my personal benefit. Like the farmers raising that alfalfa, do they pay less for that water than they would if they pumped it?
All depends what farmer you're talking about.
Oh, okay. They don't all pay the same.
Well, they're recycled water today is now becoming a commodity because of the scarcity of potable water. Now people are starting to turn towards recycled water, whether it's stage 2 water or stage 2 effluent, or whether it's full tertiary like our plant produces. In the past, we've had, the Antelope Valley, Lancaster has had water going to farmers, and I think they got a lot of that for free. The
Oh, really?
piping and the water for free.
They're making some money.
Oh, yeah.
That was stage 2 disinfected pond water.
Right.
There is no more stage 2 water in the Antelope Valley. It is all tertiary water. Palmdale, Lancaster, and
Apollo Park?
Apollo Park is all recycled water. It's always been recycled water at Apollo Park. They actually had a small tertiary plant that they ran during the warm weather months to feed Apollo Park and shut it down in the winter. That plant, I think, produced about 350,000 gallons a day or something. It's a small amount, but now that facility is mothballed, and they feed Apollo Park with recycled water.
And their recycled water at Apollo Park is on everything. I mean, they water it good. It's beautiful. I walk there every morning, early in the morning.
Every morning?
And it does a great job for that park.
Getting back to the topic at hand though, who's going to carry the burden of caring for these trees especially?
Well, that'll probably fall on volunteer help, like Rick Webb and Director Webb. He wants to kind of see that this occurs, and for several different reasons. And one of those is to show the use of recycled water. It can be a benefit to the community. at the same time, he has a background as a landscaper. He's a landscaper. Was that?
Yes,
He's a master gardener, and to kind of oversee that and get some volunteer help to help him